Hello, EKN Nation, and welcome to another edition of This Week in Karting. My name's Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole. It is episode number 29. We're midway through the final month of the 2020 calendar. It's December the 16th. And those of you who tune in regularly to our This Week in Karting podcast, you know that we present in podcast form all the major news that makes its way to the EKN homepage over the last few weeks. We call it This Week in Karting. It's normally every month. This one actually not too bad. Our last episode was December the 2nd. So just 2 weeks ago, we had our last episode. This particular edition of the podcast, which is perfect for morning and afternoon commutes. You're working on your kart in the garage, you're heading to the racetrack, whatever it may be. Perfect, as we said, for heading to work. This edition brought to you by Acceleration Kart Racing. Acceleration Kart Racing has everything you need to go racing, from tires to helmets. They have a great website for you to order from, and kart racers ready to pick up the phone and answer your questions 6 days a week. With over 20 years of kart racing under their belts, Acceleration Kart Racing has the experience to help you succeed on the racetrack. You can rely on them to get the parts you need when you need them. Make Acceleration Kart Racing your go-to source for everything karting. David, bring you into the show now. We obviously lament the fact that we're normally a month apart on our This Week in podcast, our In Karting podcast. We're actually just 2 weeks from the last one. So now that the season's kind of gone and we're in the office for an extended period of time, we're getting better with this.
Well, we're getting better with it. We have more time, and there's more news to talk about.
There's a lot. You're right. There's a lot.
During the, those late summer months of, August and September, we're typically at the racetrack more than we are in the office. So that has a lot to do with it. And there's not a lot of news happening going on. But, as we look forward to turning the calendar over to the 2021 season and just life in general, there's a lot of news happening within the sport, especially schedule announcements and changes and things that are going to be coming about for the new year.
Yeah, indeed. That's some of the stuff you're going to hear, folks, off the top of this show. We're talking 2021, obviously. The 2020 season now done and in the books. Daytona with the WK Kart Week firing things up here in a couple of weeks. But lots to talk about in terms of the 2021 season. David, let's start with the West Coast and chat a bit about the Challenge of the Americas. They were able to get they got their dates out. I think it was back in May or something like that, their initial dates. They've had those for a long time. But a little bit of shuffle in the locations of the races. We know that they were going to Cal Speed, Phoenix, and Sonoma this year. But some stuff happened with NASCAR, changing their schedule. Their kind of adjustments led to some necessary adjustments from the guys at the Challenge of the Americas.
Well, essentially, the opener they were trying to get the second event to be Cal Speed, the event in February. But NASCAR decided to schedule their Auto Club Speedway event for the same weekend that Andy Seisman and the FTK Promotions was trying to do the second event of the Challenge of the Americas. So with that, they made the Cal Speed event the opener in January and made the Phoenix Kart Racing Association facility the second stop in February. So with the recent announcement by NASCAR moving out of the Auto Club Speedway for 2021 on that particular date, it allowed Seisman to go back to Cal Speed and be like, hey, are we able to host our event this time and make it the second event rather than the first event? And they were on board with it. And PKRA was on board with changing their event from the second event to making it the opener now. So that is the shuffling that has taken place now with the Challenge in America. So January 22nd through the 24th, Phoenix Kart Racing Association in Glendale, Arizona. February 26th through the 28th, Cal Speed Karting in Fontana, California. That'll be the second event of the program. So, and again, ending up with Sonoma Raceway in March 26th through the 28th.
I think if 2020, David, taught us anything or at least conditioned us to anything, that we got to be flexible, right? It's just so much movement, and again, good for Andy Seisman, as you said, the guys from FTK Promotions for having the flexibility, and of course, thank you to those venues as well, because man, you do what you got to do. Andy had to move, wanted to get that Cal Speed in a certain date, had to move some things back and forth, and eventually, based on what's happened, he actually goes back to the way he wanted it. which I think will be good.
Yeah, it goes back to the way he wanted it, and they're putting in plan Bs for the remainder of the schedule, because as of right now, Arizona seems to never want to be shut down. So which is the complete opposite of what's going on in the state of California. So, for the February event, they still have a backup plan of going to Tucson, which will be the Musselman Honda circuit in February, depending on what COVID-19 guidelines are going to be issued by that time. So, I would assume by the time we get to PKRA, we'll know whether, a little bit, have a better idea of whether we're going to Cal Speed or not. But, as of right now, Cal Speed is a destination, and, we're hoping that numbers will continue to go downward, and the track will not be shut down.
Yeah, let's cross our fingers. I know that everybody's, ready, more than ready to get rid of 2020, hoping that 2021 will bring back some of that normalcy that we're all looking for. And of course, now with the dropping of the vaccine in certain areas, let's cross our fingers that the ripple effect of that will potentially kind of open up to allow some of these, these spectator events, these motorsports events that we want to have happen. Dave, let's stay with the Rock Cup program on the West Coast. Stay with FTK Promotions. We had a chance to do a happy hour with Howden face to face. Myself, yourself, Andy Saisman, and Sean Buer hooked up for a primetime show a couple of weeks ago, and they talked about the challenges that Andy had to deal with in somehow being able to put on the California Rock Championship. You mentioned PKRA. They actually went there for their first CRC race of 2020 just to be able to get away from the COVID mandates, as you had said. They were able to have an event there. Dates confirmed now, though, for the 2021 California Rock Championship, Dave. 6 rounds of racing over 5 events.
Yeah, dates and locations, aside from the series finale, something he mentioned in our face-to-face broadcast. The program, they sent out a questionnaire to competitors over the last 2 years and got the feedback and kind of formed the schedule around it. Obviously, it's a summer-based program, so it's a continuation of what happens after the winter program for Challenge the Americas, but really is more so of just a place for regional racing in the Rock Cup USA program in the state of California. Ironically, though, they have gone now outside the state of California last year, as you said, with Phoenix, and this year moving up to Oregon. We'll get to that in a minute. But they're going to open up the season May 7th through the 8th at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. That'll be put on by Andy Saisman and the FTK Promotions group at Buttonwillow. It'll be a 1-round event. So again, practice Saturday, qualify Saturday, and then racing on Sunday. Sonoma Raceway will be part of the program again. It will be there twice this year, as it was in 2020, working with the Rock Sonoma group. They host the event. They put on the event and do all the details, and the California Rock Championship goes there and competes with those competitors that are racing there, and the points count towards the series. They'll be there May 7th through 8th, June 12th through 13th. And then again in August, the 21st through the 22nd. Now, go ahead.
Oh, just good. You're rolling into the next one, which I think is great. And the cool thing is, and I'm sure you'll bring this up, this next event, you talked about getting outside of California. This really came as part of their survey that they have for their drivers, correct?
I believe so. Yeah. I don't know everything. I can't remember everything Andy and Sean talked about.
Well, we did have a couple of beers that night.
Yeah. I tend to ignore what they say when they're talking, but
that's true. I get that.
Yeah. I would go back and listen to and watch the face-to-face, or listen to it on our podcast, whichever way you prefer to listen to our content. But essentially it was one of the tracks that people in the series wanted to go to. And and also the format, because this event, July 23rd to 25th, Pat Akers Racing Complex in Canby, Oregon, is going to be essentially like a Challenge in America's event, where you go in on Friday, you practice all day, and then you have 2 different rounds on Saturday and Sunday, each different racing rounds. So not everybody wanted the entire California Rock Championship to be that type of format. So this allows those who enjoy that type of format to take part in an event like that, and then also for the series to move to a different location outside what you consider the California box with Sonoma and Southern California. So it'll be a unique event. And as Andy and Sean talk about, it's going to be a great summer fest. It'll be a rocking weekend with obviously a lot of events on and off the racetrack.
So September 25th, 26th, the TBD finale. David, you've got your ear on the ground. Have you been able to talk to Andy? Is there any kind of indication, a hint of where this finale could be?
Likely somewhere in Southern California. Obviously, with Northern California having two events, the Pat's Acres Racing Complex, the far north of the program now. It's going to be in Southern California. Just the location has not yet been determined.
There you go. All right, folks, we're getting started here on this edition of This Week in Karting. Again, episode number 29. It's December the 16th. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. Lots to come. Thank you for tuning into this broadcast here, whether you're listening on the EKN Radio Network app or you've downloaded the podcast. We'll be back on the other side of this break. We're talking F-Series Gear Up Challenge. We're going to talk a little bit of Rotax as well. Stay with us. Lots to come here on the EKN Radio Network. Jenson Button, Jos Verstappen, and Roman Grosjean. All former Technokart drivers and champions. Get ready, America, for the Technokart invasion. Formed in the 1970s, the Italian manufacturer has new representation in the U.S., and they're already winning races and championships. Technokart USA is owned and operated by top national masters drivers Laurent Mardan and Christian Vaumier, and they are focused on building the new Technokart dealer network. The Technokart line hits all the different engine platforms in American karting, beginning with the TR28 Special for 4-cycle racing. The TR30 is Techno's chassis for 100cc and 125cc tag competition, and we also have a TR Cadet and Kid Kart for the drivers coming into the younger age groups of the sport. In 2021, Technokart USA will be attending the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour, United States Pro Kart Series and Route 66 programs, the Rock the Rio and SCUSA Super Nationals in Las Vegas, and will continue to support our home track, the Badger Kart Club. Race-winning Arrive and Drive programs are available, and kart shops interested in adding a new quality chassis to their lineup should contact us today. Be sure to follow Technokart USA LLC on Facebook and Instagram. If you're searching for a program to elevate you up the motorsports ladder, Crosslink Competition is your next step. Crosslink Competition provides Arrive and Drive programs that include driver coaching, data analysis, and engine rental programs for all major events in the 2020 season. Team Crosslink is scheduled to compete at the SCUSA Pro Tour, Rock Cup USA, and the United States Pro Kart Series events, as well as regional and local programs from their home base in Texas. Crosslink Competition is a full retail shop for the Xpree and OTK parts line. Many new and used packages are available right now through their Dallas headquarters. Drivers interested in making the jump from karting to cars, Crosslink provides a streamlined opportunity for you. Team Crosslink Kiwi Motorsports was the 2019 F4 United States Championship title winner, providing the perfect transition within the same operation. Drivers looking to compete with an elite-level karting program or to pick up gently used team equipment are asked to call 214-432-4413. Be sure to follow all the team's social media platforms at Team Crosslink. Welcome back to episode 29 of This Week in Karting. Lots to talk about, and as we said from the top of the broadcast, again, this edition brought to you by Acceleration Kart Racing. We're talking a lot about 2021, schedules, dates, locations, that kind of thing. David, shout out to Marco Oldoffer and the crew at F-Series Gear Up Challenges. They had to, speaking of challenges, they dealt with a lot of them through this COVID-19 situation, moving dates around, trying to get events in. They were supposed to do a lot more dates. I think they were going to do 6 races on the season. They ended up doing 3. Interesting, because you say this all the time, less is more. For 2021, Marco and the F-Series Gear Up Challenge locking down to 3 major events at three solid venues up in the Northeast.
Yeah, and it's a very it's a change from what they typically have done. They've typically done 4 events, 7 rounds of racing, including one doubleheader. This year, 2020 was a bit of a chaotic year for them. Obviously, being in the Northeast area, they had to deal with obviously COVID-19 guidelines in certain areas of New York and New Jersey and elsewhere, and along with Pennsylvania as well too. So essentially they did a 3-event 6-round format for 2020. They're going to come back again with that in this year. So it seemed to be that less is more type mentality that we're kind of always preaching about, and it seemed to work for them in the 2020 season. So they're moving forward with that in 2021, going to obviously 3 different states, 3 different great facilities in the Northeast region, starting it all off with Pittsburgh International Race Complex on May 14th through the 16th, before moving up to the New York Race Complex in northern New York on July 30th through the August 1st. That event hopefully will be able to allow Canadians by that point to come across the border to
no kidding,
right on the border of Canada. So hopefully we'll see some Canadians coming down for that event. And then everything wraps up on September 17th to the 19th at New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Yeah, thefseries.com is the website to get more information, but I really like this, the idea of going down to the 3 events. There's a lot of racing going on in the Northeast, through New York, through New Jersey, through Pennsylvania. Obviously Marco also has kind of a regional program that they run as well. This really puts 3 focused events for the drivers that run their particular categories from their particular class structure. This is going to be good. And as you said, David, 3 really solid race venues as well in Pitt, New York Race Complex, and New Jersey Motorsports Park. So I like what they're doing for sure. Let's stay, David, in the East, in the Northeast. And obviously one of the things that you and I have been kind of keeping an eye on is kind of the resurgence of the Rotax program. Putting everything under the racerotax.com banner as J3 Competition and the crew and RTX group down in the South working to build this program. But J3 Competition focusing again on that grassroots level, right? To try to reestablish the Rotax program grassroots, whether it's club tag racing, regional racing, whatever it may be. But David, they put together their Rotax Trophy Series East. They've got the final 2 locations confirmed, which with what will be a 4-event schedule for 2021.
Yeah, we talked about this program in our last podcast, or This Week in Karting. Under the Race Rotax banner, they're looking at growing regional programs again. And, to complement what the F Series is doing in the Northeast, the Rotax Trophy Series East is going to help provide, 7 solid events in the Northeast region for competitors to go to in the 2021 season. As we talked about in our last show, the opening 2 events are going to be at OVRP and United Karting in Baltimore, May 7th through the 9th for the opener at Cuddybackville, New York, and then June 9th through 11 at the United Karting facility, one of the newer facilities that we have in the sport. Yeah. They did confirm the final 2 locations for 2021, June 25th through the 27th at the Lafayette Motorsports Park in Lafayette, New York, and then July 16th through the 17th, New Jersey Motorsports Park in Millville, New Jersey. So again, the program, this one is actually expanding to 4. It was 3 last year. It was kind of a quick, let's get these tracks working together program with OVRP, United Karting, and Lafayette. Now this year they add New Jersey Motorsports Park to the program to put up their the series finale. So both these Northeast programs wrapping it up in Millville.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And let's go to racerotax.com if you want information on the Rotax Trophy Series East. Of course, the Grand Finals tickets available to champions as well for 2021. David, you kind of sit back and look at it, right? The 2 essentially primary programs up there. No conflicts, a couple of races in May, a couple of races in June, a couple of races in July, and 1 in September, and 6 different facilities getting activated for these 2 programs. I like what's kind of happening in the Northeast. It's kind of been there by itself. We've obviously had a lot of drivers, great drivers from the Northeast, running national events, running the major East Coast events, but they have their own community up there, and it's great to see what will now be 7 major, regional events, both in the F Series and the Race Rotax program running up there in the Northeast.
Yeah, there's going to be no shortage of racing or karting in the Northeast this year, because as you said, a lot of competitors and teams from the area still go to some of the national events. So a busy 2021 schedule coming up.
All right, another break in the action here on This Week in Karting. When we come back, we're going to talk about, kind of move more into the Ohio area for this particular run through what we've got going on. Again, all about 2021 again. We're going to talk Pro-Am Karting Championship, and we're going to talk about the Buckeye Karting Challenge. Stay with us again. Lots on the other side of this break. It's time to put 2020 behind us and start planning for 2021. Get out your calendar and mark off the dates for the fastest growing Rock Cup program in the U.S., the Challenge of the Americas. It's our 14th season, and 2021 will be the biggest yet. We set a new series record at Cal Speed last February at 142 entries, and that's where we're kicking off the year on January 22 to 24. We're picking up where we left off, and it is going to be huge. As always, the challenge features 3 weekends at 3 of the finest tracks in the West. And for 2021, that's Cal Speed Karting in Fontana, the Phoenix Kart Racing Association in Glendale, and Sonoma in NorCal Wine Country. Our classes include Micro, Mini, Junior, Senior, and Masters Rock, our multi-manufacturer 100cc Junior, Senior, and Masters level, and our well-supported Rock Shifter and Rock Shifter Masters program. While other West Coast programs are shrinking, the Challenge of the Americas and Rock Cup are growing. Don't miss out on the fun, the atmosphere, and the hardcore racing of the Challenge. Prizes include tickets to the Rock Super Final in Italy and the Rock the Rio event in Las Vegas. The Challenge opener is less than 3 months away, so head to our website at challengekarting.com, pull out that calendar, and lock in the dates, and we'll see you in Fontana. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the US, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. From the legendary Tony Kart brand to the race-winning Cosmic and Esprit chassis, and the new for 2020 in the US, the Red Speed and the EOS, OTK quality is second to none. All 5 brands are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour and the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and the SCUSA Winter Series and the Pro Kart Challenge, and the United States Pro Kart Series and the WK Manufacturers Cup. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, whether it's Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, Red Speed, or EOS, visit www.otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK directly. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network and the EKN Podcast Program. Rob Howden alongside David Cole, as we really are kind of focusing on bringing everybody up to date on what's happening in 2021. As we say, good riddance to 2020. Hopefully we'll say good riddance to COVID-19 as well. David, we went from the West Coast and the Southwest, California. We moved up to the Northeast, talked about F-Series and the Race Rotax Trophy East Series. Now we're going to kind of slot into Ohio. Let's start with the Pro-Am Karting Championships, which of course takes place down at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. The facility now under the ownership of Sean Bailiff and his family. They've done a ton of stuff to that facility to bring it up, to another level. Just kind of the way that Sean Bailiff and the whole Trinity Karting Group handles everything they do, right? Absolute pro. They're building this number one, they're building the track up, and it's become kind of a destination track, more serious looking at coming to that facility. Plus, they have their own Pro-Am Karting Championship that's really brought kind of the national level categories to racing around that Ohio, Cincinnati area.
Yeah, they established the program in 2020, obviously before all the pandemic hit, and we're trying to make it a breakthrough season for the facility, as you said, making the transition in ownership and trying to make it a premier facility for the state of Ohio. So I think they're doing that, and the many multiple amenity changes that they've done, and then facility changes as well. And coming up in 2021, they'll be doing circuit additions to it, adding length to the racetrack and multiple configurations, than more so than what they already have to it. So again, making it one of the premier facilities in the state of Ohio. But essentially, the Pro-Am Karting Championship, you got to start somewhere in club racing, and so they established the series. They got 4 events off in the 2020 schedule, and going to 7 rounds, thankfully, hopefully through April and October for the 2021 season. They had a finale this past year. It actually was on the day of Halloween. And then they're going to move forward with that in 2021. So their finale on October 30th, I believe, will be their Kartoween event. So a little bit of a celebration of karting and the Halloween all in the same day. But as you said, it's kind of a program to bring the national level categories, such as the IAME categories, to the club level in the state of Ohio. So the majority of the class structure follows that, with the mini, the micros, the X30s, and the K100 categories as well. But one of the key aspects of their program is the Ignite Karting program categories that they have included, with senior, junior, and masters following the Ignite rule structure and spec chassis program with the Briggs & Stratton power plant. But they're also opening up to CIK LO206 divisions with senior and masters. And they're making a little bit of changes. Shifter numbers weren't quite there, and there's actually people wanting to come race the program, but there's no class available. So they essentially created an open category, which will include shifters, probably some tags, and who knows what will show up for the class.
Little run what you brung, right?
Yeah, essentially what the name of it is, but I like it open, more professional. But run what you brung. Well, it's very old school, very club oriented name.
It's also old school stock car racing for sure, right? Now, and that's the pro and the am, professional and the amateur. You got the pro stuff with all the IAME categories that you would have on the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, or potentially on the USPKS program. You got the amateur racing with the Ignite, the Margay Ignite classes, and the 206 class, and then the open category as well, as you said. They'll run, of course, the MG tires on the IAME program, Hoosier tires on Ignite. Looking forward to, I think, what will be a really good program of what is at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. That's their club program. A lot of members involved in that program as well, and they're taking some of those racers with Trinity Karting Group and taking them to other events like the USPKS, Daytona Kart Week, whatever it may be. So it's just a really good base program out of that facility. David, staying in Ohio, we've kind of been developing our relationship and our line of communication with the good folks from the Buckeye Karting Challenge, because when you look at what the 206 has done, especially in the West and the East Coast, and all in different areas, of course, of the country, but man, there's a lot of momentum with the 206, whether it be the Cup Karts North America program or their Grand Nationals. The series that we probably should shine even more light on is this Buckeye Karting Challenge, because man, the amount of numbers they got coming out of the gate last year and this year, this is really a growing and vibrant series.
It is. It's the state championship that is, with the Briggs & Stratton movement that we've seen over the last 8-9 years now. It's getting grassroots racers back to the racetrack, and then when you have a state championship like this, it brings them all together into one, under one banner and one umbrella, all racing together and against each other. So that's essentially what we've seen over the last 2 years with the Buckeye Karting Challenge, which is now moving to 5 race weekends in 2021. Sorry, I keep trying to say 2020, but I'm gonna say 2021.
You'll break the habit. Don't
worry.
I
know it's like writing it when you're doing checks and all the other stuff. But so last year was 6 race weekends in 2020. This year moving down to just 5 events in 2021. The change for that is to allow racers to do more than just what they're doing at the club and regional level, because they do actually have some. Less is more, and we keep saying that.
You do, David.
but it's to allow their racers to go and do other things as well too.
Yeah.
Because they're actually getting national level racers taking part in the state championship program that they have.
Well, let's look at the schedule as well. You're talking about all the primary tracks in Ohio. May 16th, they'll kick things off at G&J Kartway. Fast forward a month later, a little over a month, June the 26th, the Thompson Kart Raceway. July 18th, the Circleville Raceway Park. August the 22nd at Fremont Raceway Park. And then, of course, the track that's now opened up with the purchase by the Bailiffs Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati on October the 24th. And David, I like the break as well, right? Once a month kind of thing. May, June, July, August, nothing in September, and then October. I like when you have that kind of cadence. And again, like you said, it allows club racers to run their club for the championship and then go run regionally. It allows regional racers then to do, if they want to run regionally, they can also do a bunch of national events as well. I think it's a great lineup.
And we'll see how that fares. Last year, 2020, they averaged 125 entries combined with the 4-cycle and 2-cycle categories that they had. So we'll see if that increases for 2021 or if it kind of stays the same, depending on the, with one less race that they're going to have. And again, they're going to continue with that class structure of mixing both 2-cycle and 4-cycle. One change, though, that they are making for the new season, it's something that we kind of highlighted over the last 2 years of what they do, and now they're not going to be doing it anymore.
We like this, but yeah,
is the P-pick format, the no qualifying, 2 heat races and a final type format, stuff you see at a club, and we kind of talked about it over the last 2 years with them. We really enjoyed that factor, but I think they've had enough feedback from the racers who are part of it and want to be part of it that it wasn't working for them, or it didn't incorporate safe racing, maybe possibly. Obviously safety is always a factor when if you have fields differing in speed time. So they'll go to a qualifying, pre-final, and final format, but they might still reserve the right to invert the field randomly for the pre-final events. So we'll see how they shake things up.
We won't beat on them too much, David. I know you and I are both fans of the P-pick, so we'll lay off on them a little bit on that one. As long as they're listening to their customers, it's a good call, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, we see that over and over again. People just like qualifying and we don't. Maybe because we both suck at it.
Maybe that's what it is. That's funny. All right, folks, another quick break in the action here. When we come back, we're going to talk Briggs & Stratton. We're going to talk a little bit of Margay Ignite Action, a new dealer for that program. And we're going to talk about a twice around the clock, I guess it is, event that's back again with some big news. Stay with us. We'll continue with This Week in Karting after this break. I think we all know that in racing, every kid's dream is to progress through to the top levels of motorsports. Take that first step with the Will Power Kart. This new karting chassis was launched in collaboration with IndyCar champion Will Power, Kart Republic, Kart Sport North America, and MPG Motorsports. 2 models are available through Will Power Kart, with the WP12 and WP Mini, which will get you from cadet all the way through the shifter kart categories. In its first season, Will Power Kart secured victories and podiums at the national, regional, and club level, including 2 United States Pro Kart Series championships. The kart is primed and ready to take you to victory lane. Visit willpower.com to learn more about their chassis lineup and follow them on all social media platforms. Will Power Kart, all power. Are you done with the craziness of 2020 and ready for 2021 to get underway? Everyone at Superkarts USA certainly is. If you're planning to race with Superkarts USA next year, we have the answer. Spring training is only a few weeks away. So get out of the cold and come join us in South Florida for our 2021 Winter Series. The SCUSA Winter Series is back for its 3rd season. AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex is the place to be in January and February. This is the ideal opportunity to shake off the rust and get ready for the new season. And the track at Homestead always offers tight and competitive racing. This is the tune-up for the Pro Tour, and all the national classes are on the schedule. Get ready to rock at the SCUSA Winter Nationals in New Orleans by racing against SCUSA's best at the Winter Series. Registration is open for the first round of the series, which will fire up the 2021 season on the January 8th to 10th weekend. The second doubleheader is set for February 12 to 14. You can get all the program's information on superkartsusa.com and register now at motorsportsreg.com. The Superkarts USA Winter Series, Spring Training. We'll see you there. All right, back at it here again. David Cole and myself, Rob Howden, presenting episode 29 of This Week in Karting. It's December the 16th. Shout out to Acceleration Kart Racing for being our presenting sponsor of this particular edition of the show. David, obviously we have a fantastic relationship with Briggs & Stratton Racing. Not only that, we're huge fans of the program itself. You and I get a chance to drive a handful of times a year, maybe less for me, but you know what? Good to see the 2021 Briggs 206 rule set come out. I think we're all always waiting to see what kind of adjustments may be made. It's normally just a little bit of fine tuning. They've done such a great job with the program. Give us the lineup of really what's happening, because there's really no major changes to the rule set this year.
I was going to say there is no lineup because there's no major rule changes. That's one thing they've been consistent with since the beginning of the 206 program is keeping things the same and not trying to stir the nest anything at all. Sorry. So essentially the same type of rule set that they've been following over the last few years. A new addition though to the rule set for the 2021 season. Obviously left-handed chassis are becoming a popular trend in the sport. And so they've adjusted that with introducing the new RLV EXF 5511 exhaust header for the left side engine. So that new exhaust header will be allowed for the 2021 season. The 5506 RLV header, candy cane style, will still be permitted this season. And then probably what they'll do is review and see a need for any adjustments for the 2022 season. Aside from that, carburetor inspection process is the only rule clarification that was made to the rule set. So really, as we said, no major changes. And again, basically take the engine you ran all season long and run it again this year.
And as always, briggsracing.com is where you can go to download the rule set there. Obviously, have a look at briggsracing.com if you haven't been there, because there's a lot of great information there as well. David, one of the things that we've seen kind of develop over the last couple of years, we've been excited about. We've never been able to be part of it, but hopefully one day we will. I'm not sure whether or not I'll be able to get down this year. We'll look at it. But the SimCraft 24-hour event, which was held in Florida for the last couple of years, we talked about this before, moving to New Orleans, NOLA Motorsports Park, and they've actually added a heavy class for 2021. You and I can talk about the fact that Masters is weighted perfectly at 365. But TJ Halsma, obviously looking at the different racers they've had come, right? They've had a couple of years of this. Last year, a fantastic turnout. I expect they're going to see 40 teams this year for this 24-hour race, which is amazing. But looking at some of the racers they had, making a move to add a heavy class at 395 pounds. When you think about the amount of people that would be interested in coming to this 24-hour race, I think we've seen already how popular this event has become. This seems like a really good idea to me, to have that that race within a race for guys that are just a little bit heavier.
Yeah, last year I think was a combined 30 teams. I'm trying to look up the entries from last year, but yeah, I think it was. I
think you're right, David. Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't know how 230-pound drivers are racing Briggs, to be honest, but that's a sidebar. We won't get into that, even though it irks me and over. But 34 teams last year made up the field, and again, it was a mixture. They had 22 in the pro category, 11 in the Masters, and then one solo driver that made 1,087 laps. So,
I can't even imagine that.
a Guinness World Record. That's
Yeah,
just,
it's unbelievable.
it's
So,
amazing.
hey, so listen. So here's the thing. We'll throw it out there for TJ. Just so you know, for those of you be listening here, obviously this podcast is going out on the radio network this week. I think David said you're going to try to have it for a podcast before the end of the weekend. I just pinned down TJ Halsma for Monday for a face-to-face on our YouTube live show. We're going to bring Jason Burgess in as well, I believe. They're flagmen. So I pinned that down just about an hour ago, David. I forgot to tell you. So that'll be Monday. That's going to come up. So there'll be more information there coming from him. But listen, 395 pounds. We could talk to TJ about that, Dave. But the bottom line is they could adjust that back and forth. But really, I think it's just the opportunity of putting another class out there. They could drop it to 385 if they had to, right? It's flexible. But
Yeah,
I think it's just more of a focus on, hey, you know what? We got another group of people here that maybe can't get down to the 365 number.
That's exactly it. It's more focused at an inclusive event. And with the move to NOLA Motorsports, the pit lane is massive. The paddock is massive. So they're able to add, they're probably going to have probably close to 50 teams this year is as I think what the goal is for TJ and the Simcraft crew. To be able to do that, you got to be allowed, got to have the opportunity to, not everybody wants to race against pro guys. And some people don't mind putting 30 pounds of lead on their cart to be in a separate class, and hopefully, down the road, whether it be next year or the year after, they'll be able to have a pro, a semi-pro, a masters, a heavy, they'll be able to have maybe 5 or 6 different categories going around the racetrack at the same time. So a very Le Mans style, very 24-hour Daytona feel to it, with all these different categories, all racing to be first in class.
For those of you who were part of the action last year, registration will begin on January the 1st, the very first day of the year, for returning teams. If you're looking for some more information, it's 24hrsofnola.com. 24hrsofnola.com for more information on this year's Simcraft 24-hour event. David, before we went to the break, I mentioned that we were going to be talking a bit about Margay Ignite, and we have a new dealer for the Ignite program. And actually, it's a team that is making a lot of waves over the last couple of years here, have moved into the big time into the WKA. They had a huge team at the Brickyard. They're doing a lot of stuff. They have a massive team heading to Daytona. And of course, I'm talking about AMAX Racing, which is based in Indianapolis, Indiana. They've been added to the list of Ignite Karting dealers and will now be the Central Indiana Ignite dealer for the Margay Ignite program.
Yeah, that's been one of the key elements of with Margay Racing and the Ignite program, is not just having it all go through them. It's getting these carts out to all the different potential racers, and what better way than to have obviously dealers across the country presenting this great spec package, entry level or returning or whatever, or just wanted to go out and make some laps. Is adding to the dealership network that they've established. They have a great stronghold in the Midwest area, and now they've added another strong element with AMAX Racing, because not only are they able to support local racers at the Whiteland Raceway Park there near Indianapolis, and along with Newcastle Motorsports Park, but they also have a race team that travels to different events. And as you said, that includes the WKA Manufacturers Cup Series, which is now brought in the Ignite karting package as a class for the entire 2021 schedule. So you can race. You don't have to race with Margay. You can race with Trinity Karting Group. You can race with now AMAX Racing and other racing teams or shops with the Margay Ignite banner.
You mentioned that AMAX Racing would be part of the WK Manufacturers Cup Series, as they were this year. They're also going to be at all the USAC karting events for 2021. If you're an Ignite racer, again, we're always looking at those major events, right? Daytona Kart Week will kick things off for the Ignite Majors of 2021. Charlotte for the big, massive event that'll be there on both, the event that's going to have sprint, road race, and dirt again, April the 15th to the 18th. The Quincy Grand Prix, Quincy in the Park event, June the 12th and 13th, obviously a major for the Ignite program. Battle at the Brickyard, July the 2nd to the 4th. I will not be able to make it this year. Tears will fall. Newcastle Motorsports Park as well, David, on September the 17th to 19th.
Yeah, as you said, boom, major events right there. AMAX Racing will be part of all of those. Not to mention, as we said, Whiteland Raceway Park, where Ignite Karting is a class or a class at the club there. And then other places. I mean, even Ignite racers can race in the 206 categories that are offered up in the Route 66 program that AMAX follows as well too. So plenty of opportunities for AMAX Racing to introduce the Ignite program to current and possible racers.
All right, folks, final break in the action of this particular edition of This Week in Karting. When we get back, as we always do in this particular show, we will kind of update what we've had on the website in terms of editorial podcasts on the EKN radio network as well, and we'll fill you in on what we've got coming on EKN. Stay with us, folks. We'll wrap it all up after this break. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We ship daily to ensure that you get your order as quickly as possible, and we are constantly adding new products to our online store. We specialize in IAME engines, Tillett seats, ceramic product line, OTK products, Briggs & Stratton engines, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fit your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com.
If you've seen it on track, it's certainly caught your eye. It's the Nitro Lefty Briggs chassis. Fresh off a dominating performance at the 2019 Cup Kart North America Grand Nationals at Newcastle Motorsports Park last November, drivers stunned with their new Nitro Lefty chassis. It's certainly a different approach with many benefits. The American-made Nitro Lefty is designed for the Briggs LO206 class with a left side mounted engine for better weight distribution. This kart features easy access clutch maintenance, the ability to run one-piece gears for better chain run-out, and MCP brakes with a lightweight brake rotor. The 2020 Nitro Lefty Briggs is available in cadet and full-size frames.
The Nitro Lefty responds to changes just like our two-cycle chassis. It's enabled my son to win big races and championships all across the country.
Welcome back to the final segment here on This Week in Karting, episode number 29. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. We thank you for tuning in here, either on the EKN radio network or on the downloadable podcast. David, we've had our head down since everything happened in March with the COVID shutdown. Really has pushed us to do different things. Our editorial cranking as always, podcasts coming out. Had a lot of fun with the YouTube channel as well here in the second half of the year, and it'll be one of the big things we focus on in 2021. But we kicked out a bunch of editorial over the last couple of weeks since our edition of This Week in Karting. Knocked out an industry insider. We did a report and some insight on Technokart USA, that legendary name, coming back with Laurent Tumardin and Christian Vaumier. We'll be seeing that Technokart name rolling. Also, a race report came in from the good folks at Tillotson as they had their Florida Cup just about a week ago.
Yeah, interesting event situated in the month of December. Not a lot going on, so great opportunity for them to host a one-off event with the Florida Cup event at Anderson Raceway Park. Essentially, 20 different drivers from I think around the country were invited or were welcome to compete. Essentially, open chassis rules with a Tillotson 225 engine as a spec package for that event. Margay driver Jed Perkins was able to score the victory and take home the prize package for that.
Yeah, $2,500, I think, wasn't it?
Good payday.
Solid payday for sure. Jed Perkins, obviously second generation driver. David, we also named our November driver of the month, and a shout out to Ryan Kinnear for his performance at the Rock the Rio.
Yeah, definitely. Ryan Kinnear, one of the top shifter kart drivers, master shifter kart drivers in the country. He and Jordan Musser went at it once again. Kinnear was able to defend his last year's Rock the Rio victory at this year's Rock the Rio in Las Vegas aboard the Phil Giebler Racing Ricardo kart, racing under the PSL tent that weekend. So Kinnear, the crazy story about his event. It was only the third time really in a year that he has been in a kart, essentially since last year's Rock the Rio. So he raced Super Nats, was out of the kart until the Super Nat shootout that was held in October. So essentially was out of the seat for roughly 11 months, got back in the kart, raced that event, and then went to Rock the Rio and nearly swept the entire event. Had rain come in on the fourth heat race, and essentially he took it easy, trying not to get collected in a lot of miscues by a lot of the drivers in the wet conditions. So wasn't able to score the race win in that, but held on to earn the pole position and lead wire to wire to the victory.
As everyone knows, one of the things that we do with all the content we push out, anything that's video or audio, it ends up working its way to our podcast channels. So a lot of recent shows have made their way into the podcast. David, we're available through iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, but a number of other podcast outlets. Before you give the lineup of podcasts that you've prepared and got out there, we're on a bunch more stuff now too, right?
We have been, as we keep saying, we're on any type of podcast outlet that you download your content from. There's so many out there. It's hard. You can't list them all. So we just kind of list kind of the more popular ones, especially Podbean, because that's where we host all our podcasts from. And Podbean is able to distribute our podcasts to all the different platforms that you can download from, including iTunes and Google Play, Spotify. You talk about iHeartRadio, all these major podcast or radio show outlets that can have many hours of content. All you have to do is search up ECAN Radio Network. That's really all you need to do. No matter where you get your podcast from, you should be able to download it right from there.
So tell us what did we knock up there in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, in the last 2 weeks, we got obviously our last This Week in Karting episode 28 from December 2nd. Our face-to-face interview with the Mazda Motorsports Shootout winners with Alex Berg and Bryson Morris. We had a good conversation with them about their 2-day event at Road Atlanta and becoming 2021 factory Mazda drivers. And then also we added recently we went back to the archives and pulled out one of the old Happy Hour with Howden shows that we did back in the past. This one from August 4th, 2006. We were at the Stars of Karting Shawano, Wisconsin event. We got to talk with Mike Vinsek and Brent Smers, who were actual Formula BMW selections. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this because I don't remember the program, but they were selected by us to go do a driver course in Valencia, Spain. Is that how it all worked? Do you recall?
God, dude, you know what? I don't remember.
That was the reason they were on the show, though.
That's 14 years ago.
I know, but it was the year we actually went to the BMW.
It was
World Final in Valencia. In Valencia,
that's right. We did go to that one. Wow. I gotta go. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I'll go back and listen. to it.
So they were on the show. We had some knob named Paul Zalud, the Stars of Karting owner. He was always on our shows when we had
he actually was always.
And then, he loved to talk. That was the one thing that Paul did. He loved to talk.
Never an issue.
He was not shy from the microphone.
But listen, obviously, Paul Zale, a very good friend of mine, definitely left his mark in the sport in terms of what he did with the Stars of Karting, that program, and then, of course, went on from there to build the Pacific Grand Prix karting facility in Kent, Washington. So Paul's doing well. I touch base with him once or twice a year, so it's always good to hear from him.
I was just say, you're just saying that because he gets your wine.
I haven't had any wine. He keeps every time I go to Seattle, he invites me to come up for wine, and we just never do. I've got to come up and I got to barrel through that wine cellar his little bit and spend some money.
That's a good idea.
At Chateau de Paul.
And then also on the show was Jamie Siraki and Steve Welch from Franklin Motorsports.
Who else was there?
That was who was on the show. I mean,
On the show. Okay.
There were other people around the area. Obviously,
always guys hanging around when we do it, right?
Yeah, it was a Friday night dinner party that we kind of did it by. They had live music going on, and that was when Scott Poppy was in charge of the racetrack, and he liked to put on a show. When
the late Scott Poppy, right? Rest in peace, man. Great dude that guy was. I like Scott a lot. ECAN Radio Network coming up as well. So remember, folks, as soon as we do any kind of content, it goes on the ECAN Radio Network first. Then David turns it to a podcast. And same goes with our YouTube channel. Obviously, it gets turned into a podcast as well. ECAN Radio Network, of course, coming up, Dave. It's our 24/7 a week channel. You can download it to your phone, the ECAN Radio Network app. 24/7 content. This episode, of course, This Week in Karting. People are listening to it now. You're probably listening to it on the app or on the podcast. What else are you going to have coming up on the radio network?
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, we'll have a face-to-face with TJ from Simcraft 24 Hours of NOLA. We'll be having that up on the radio network next week sometime after we get that recorded on our YouTube page. We'll have additional rewinds and face-to-face interviews coming up as well on the radio network. And obviously the next 2 weekends is going to be a little bit less content because we have Christmas break and then we have New Year's as well too. So a lot of old stuff that we'll probably be playing over the next 2 weeks.
Well, I'm going to be hanging out between Christmas and New Year's. I know a lot of people will be down in Daytona. Maybe we'll see if we can't get one of the couple of the Daytona winners to come on and join me for a face-to-face. I know you're going to be taking some time off with the family. Well deserved. I'll see if I can't set up a couple of face-to-face shows on YouTube with some winners from Daytona. What is coming up on E-Karting News, David? You're essentially the man who's in charge of what we do in terms of content. What's coming up overall on EKN? Really, we start looking forward to 2021 now, don't we?
We do. We do need to wrap up 2020, though. However, we do have a few events left to go on the calendar year and the race season. When you look at it as a whole, we have the Sunshine Karting Challenge that will be running this weekend, along with, I believe, LAKC out on the West Coast. So those will be the final events that we have to include on our 2020 ECAN driver ranking schedule. So hopefully next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll be able to officially announce those drivers who finished number one in the shifter kart and tag driver rankings for 2020.
We'll also be firing things back up for the EKN Trackside Tour for 2021, of course, brought to you by Cooper Tires. I'll be heading to AMR Motorplex in Homestead on January 8th to 10th for the opening round of the SuperKarts USA Winter Series. David and I will then reconvene a couple of weeks later, January the 22nd to 24th, for the opening round of the Challenge of the Americas. We head to the Phoenix Kart Racing Association in Glendale, Arizona. Full trackside live coverage, audio, all the social media, all the race coverage that we do, our nightly debriefs. We'll rock those out as well. And David Cole, the long-awaited trip to In-N-Out Burger will happen on January the 20th.
Oh, my gosh. It's been so long.
Folks, that wraps up. What do you got? What do you got?
It's been since February, the end of February.
Has it been almost a full year?
I almost forget what it smells and tastes like.
Wow, that's tough.
That's the one thing about 2020 that's really pissed me off.
Well, I hear you.
It's not the not seeing the family, because who cares? I mean, I see them all the time.
They're going to be there. In-N-Out's not going to. You just can't get it. He will get it, folks. It's coming. David Cole and I will hit In-N-Out. We'll take some pictures. Follow us on social media. Thanks for joining us here, folks, on the EKN Radio Network. Episode 29 of This Week in Karting is done. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.